Hi guys. Well, the title says, let's have a frank conversation. And that's what I plan to do. Just want to give you a little bit of background. For those of you who don't know me, this little eccentric bunny, I've done some life, and I've had a number of situations in my life where I guess life has got the better of me. I've gone through some crap. I've been beat up a bit. I've had some challenges with mental illness and such like. Some would say I still have. I'm kidding, right? And it got to a point where it seems to be all just caving in on me. And that's about the time where I actually started to really focus on getting clear on why it was that I was the way I was, and was there anything that I could do to reverse that? What could I do? What was available to me that could assist or facilitate some rehabilitation? So that's where I started to throw myself into personal development, human behaviour, psychology of why I was drawn to things, why I did do things, why I didn't do things, all that sort of stuff. Now in that journey, of course, I wasn't specifically able to research just me and just my stuff, so I got exposed to learning about a lot of stuff. And as you do, when you start to learn and research about these sorts of things, you start to recognize patterns that are not only yours, but they're other people's. And you're like, oh, that's like Mary, or that's like Julie, or whatever else. And you start to starts to make sense. You start to look at the cycles and look at the way people do the things that they do and the way they behave and react and such like. So it started to create this massive curiosity, and I just wanted to pull it apart, like massively, just strip it right down to grassroots. And one of the mentors that I had, a very significant person in my life for many, many years, taught me to dig down to the root of what was going on if you want to get clarity, if you want to get order or structure in your life. So I used to pull things apart of, why is that, and how did that happen, and blah, 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 blah. And I got some answers. And essentially today, I want to have a frank conversation about people, about us, why we behave and why we react the way we do. So essentially, through my journey, learning about lots of cycles, I started to look very closely at myself and why I was the way I was. And of course, at birth, a lot of people would say that's where you start and you go on from there. But of course, through my studies, I started to pull this apart to go, why is it that you might have 4 siblings and they're all very different, and they've got different giftings, they've got skills, they've got, one of them might be really advanced and one of them might be just about, I was going to say retarded, but of course you can't say that, restricted in their ability, One might get top of the class, one might, well, I'm an example. I just used to crash and burn and everything. I was the bottom of the class. I was the retard, if anything, for the want of a better word. But there was a part of me that was retarded. It wasn't able to become amazing. It wasn't. It just couldn't come out. There was a blockage in a whole bunch of those areas. I was good with my hands. That was about it. Reading, school, writing, maths, English, you name it. It just didn't ring true to me, right? What I've learnt is at birth, you're approximately 60-odd% DNA, which includes giftings, skills, memories, traumas. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. Around 60% of you at birth, you're a product of your parents. You carry your parents' baggage. Now, whether you like it or not, that's been proven over and over again. And in my own personal journey on helping people, I've been able to identify very, very clearly cycles that have come from parents and grandparents. So, that's not really something that I'm not wanting to debate, but I'm wanting to point out to you guys that in order to move forward, you have to look at your past. You have to visit your past. Now, a lot of people will argue this. They will argue the point of saying, It's in the past, it's gone, it's finished, just get on with your life. Right, I get that, and I'm wanting to agree principally with that statement. You need to move on. But if some of those things have created anchors that are literally immovable, you may never get success in certain areas of your life. So this is my challenge. What are the areas of your life that you are stuck in and you're not moving forward? And you can identify cycles. Is there a ongoing cycle, round and round and round and round, in your finance? You get money, you lose money. You lose it. You make money, you lose money. You get money, you spend money. You get money, and it just leaves you. I for one, we were always very responsible. We didn't borrow money for furniture. We didn't borrow money, for all that sort of stuff. We borrowed money for business and, in business investments and such like. But we're very cautious. There was lots of people around us who went, oh yeah, we got this credit card deal and we bought this new leather lounge suite and it was $5,000. And we never did that. We were always very, very conscious. We bought stuff on sales and in op shops, and we got some incredible deals. But there was never a surplus. One would think if we didn't buy brand new everything like everyone else and put it on hock, we'd be better off because the repayments wouldn't stifle our cash flow, and we'd be better off because we wouldn't have wasted all that money through paying interest in full retail. I for one have just explored wholesale everything. Just try and find a way of buying stuff at wholesale, or better if you can, wheel and deal. There's lots of ways of doing that. And so we were always very frugal about that. We didn't have car repairs because I repaired all the cars. And what's more, I did all the repairs in the house. So I'm thinking there's a saving on purchases, there's a saving on maintenance, there's all these savings, and yet we weren't getting ahead. And there was this cycle of never being able to get ahead. So it wasn't until I had that epiphany, that moment of going, oh my gosh, what's going on with my money, where I started to very specifically look at my finance and bring order and structure to it. And that was the same in my relationships. There was ongoing cycles in my relationships, and I needed to really become very aware of what was going on there. I needed to become aware of cycles to do with diving into things, get fit, exercise. So, you exercise flat out for 3 days, 5 days, and then you're done. You drop it, you get inspired about something and you never get around to finishing that task you set out to. Those sorts of cycles. What's going on there? There's a part of you that gets inspired on a day and says, yes, that's me, I want to do it. And tomorrow it's gone. What was that about? Where's that inspiration gone? Well, if you haven't got your ducks in a row, as the saying goes, you may not be able to get the outcome that you want. And so when you get down to your life, you've only got one of them. So you need to really look at, getting a plan, getting a purpose, getting it figured out. And this is one of the things that I've actually bucked at myself. I always wanted to be a free-spirited person, and I want to be an entrepreneur, and I do this and I do that, and on a whim, I'll throw myself into the deep end because of an investment that I buy, and I flick it off and I make some money, and then we're on to the next deal, and where's the next opportunity, So planning for me was almost distasteful, I just really was like, planning, structure, it's not really me. I would argue that's just not part of me at all. But that was part of my undoing. I was so set in my ways, like, I'll do all this stuff, but don't touch there. Don't tell me to get structure in my life. Don't tell me to get order in my life. I used to pride myself on the fact that I'd get out of bed every day at a different time. I'd eat different cereal every day. I would do things differently. And if I had my way, I would have slept on a different side of the bed every couple of nights. I would have slept on the floor or the couch. I would have just everything different. But the routine is one of the things that brings that structure. And if you want success in areas of your life, you need to look at the cycles. Now, if your parents didn't do that, and that's in their gene pool, then potentially you've been set up. It's like a self self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, it's just if your parents failed at everything, there's a good chance that you'll fail at everything unless you get a plan, unless you get some clarity, unless you get someone to get alongside of you and to challenge you on your decisions and start bouncing around these, you know, inspiring moments that you get to bring clarity in it. Or what is that about? So I want to encourage you guys today to really look at your life, your cycles in your life, the things that you truly are inspired about to do, and to follow them and to pursue them. And when things get in your way, or when you get distracted, analyze, why was it that I was so inspired about that thing? I was so lit up, and now I've been so willing to just drop it. What's going on? What's going on? Figure it out. Find out why. You owe yourself the right to be successful in whatever area it is, whether it be in your relationships, whether it be impacting the world, whether it be, you know, your thing that you do. If you're a teacher, you're an educator, you're passionate about, you know, your job, your role. If you want success in that role and you want to be the very, very best you can be at it, figure out why you're not getting that success. And if you can't do that, I'm very happy to help you look at that. I'm looking for some students. I've got a beta test consultancy opportunity where I can mentor you and I can talk through some of these cycles and help you try and identify what your blockages are, and then maybe we can set a plan on making sure that you get that success that you're owed. So, food for thought. Good chatting to you. Take care. Talk to you next time. Bye for now.